In my last video, I talked about the idea of Atreus being a playable character in the God of War 5 game, set to come out sometime this year. Watch my possible delay video for God of War 5 for more info. So as a naive little boy, I thought that I actually came up with the original idea of Atreus as a playable character. But I was quickly snapped back to reality when I decided to search on Google. In a world of over 7 billion people, is there any such thing as an original idea? In that first video, I was leaning more to the idea of if it could happen, which I answered with a resounding no. But since there's no updates on the development of God of War 5, let's move on from the if it could work onto the how it could work. After a long brainstorm and trying to find ways to keep this video from going any longer than it should, I've narrowed it down to 2, puzzles and missions. Puzzles. Now, I am a huge fan of the God of War franchise, but I can say with a very sad heart that I haven't played all of them. Yes, I actually jumped on a God of War bandwagon back in 2018, but I have played God of War 3, and in that game there was some puzzles here and there, but in the newest God of War, they took it to the next level. I mean, it's like Cory Barlog watched National Treasure and got an idea to just make puzzles a huge part of the game. If you think about it, besides having to solve puzzles to get to the next stage, you also need to solve puzzles to increase your health bar and your rage bar, which is not only scattered all over the open world, but it's mainly just running and looking all over the place to find and throw your axe until you hit 3 runes. And finally, the chest opens. Besides that, when you have to use Atreus, all you're doing is hitting square a bunch of times. I think it would be cooler if there were some stages where you have to switch to Atreus to get through more confined spaces, just like in those Lego games. And also, sometimes you find something where you need a different weapon which you haven't unlocked yet. Very similar to the Lego games. I kind of just realized that puzzles could have been a part of missions. We all had to get used to the buddy AI thing with Atreus, because throughout the series, you're just a one-man army, just killing everything in sight. Well, you kind of do that here again, but it's different, because if you press square, your son, Atreus, shoots an arrow at something. After finishing the game, your square button is going to need a cigarette or something. But on to missions. Now in God of War, there is a clear focus on Atreus. As the son of Kratos, he has a lot to live up to. Now, as much as I love just shooting a million of arrows at people, I don't really want to play as a small boy. But if I had to, I would love to do things that Kratos wouldn't be able to do. Like, I would love to just grab the bow and just shoot arrows at people from like in a tower, or something like defending off waves of enemies. I really like that whole mission where Kratos goes into the light and comes back and Atreus is just surrounded with dead bodies since he had to defend himself. I would love a mission like that. But missions don't always have to involve combat. Maybe there can be a mission from Atreus' perspective during his childhood, so we can learn more about his mother Faye and earlier childhood memories. I'm pretty sure Cory and Santa Monica Studios are much more imaginative in their ways of making God of War 5 a worthy sequel and an overall great game. Now, to address some of the notions that God of War is being very similar to the Last of Us franchise, I see no motive for a transition from Kratos to Atreus anytime soon, because I can't see Kratos dying in any sort of anticlimactic way. And I don't think Atreus is gay.
It's raining men.